nuts. Dude, we're past due for leaving. La dee dee da, dee da dee da da. We're past due, bro. Are we, bro? Think he might be off. No, he's still on. What? Holy shit, he's fighting good.
Come on, don't break the line, buddy. Don't break.
That's a beauty walleye. Jesus Christ, he's not ready to go yet. Nice.
Slimy.
Nice. Oh, I took it. Pissing water down on my sleeping bag, everything else. This, bro. Straight as we are right now. Good, bro. Good, bro. We're good, bro. We're good, bro. We're good, bro. We're good. We're good. What? Go to the other side?
Yes, go. More rapids.
Get around me. You're good, bro. Woo.
Well, let me tell you where these came from.
Basically, we didn't get much footage after the dump yesterday. I'm running low on space on the GoPro, but we tried to run this thing that was too big. Nolan didn't want to do it either.
Yeah.
I was kind of gung ho, young blood, wanted to get out there and do it all. We went down it. We made the first couple humps, as you see in the video. And then instantly waves crashed over. We both floated out. I got kind of stuck behind the canoe there for a bit, and then we ended up getting out, getting over to a rock.
Yeah, the whole time we were in the water, like, so our front dips in under a wave. We get too much water. We're still upright, but there's just like our whole canoe is flooded. And then I bail. I have to bail because our canoe sinks too low. And all of a sudden I see another rock and a hole. Like I see something coming up, so I'm yelling to Clayton, get to the shore, get to the shore. I'm trying to drag my bag to the shore because it has the GPS and everything we need to live in it. And eventually I have to let go my bag because you can't swim in a rapid with something in your hand. And it was just terrifying. Like Clayton gets over, like he eventually.
Yeah, I ended up getting hung up onto this rock, and I saw you were onto a rock as well, so you jumped back in to swim over to shore, and by that time we were kind of past the rapids.
Yeah.
And then I looked up, and there's this lad and his girlfriend or whatever, and I'm like, holy shit, like, these are the first people we've seen all trip.
Randomly, there was someone right there as soon as we needed someone most.
There was someone there.
There was a couple there, like a French couple from Quebec, and they were like, we're going to go try to find your bag. So they, like, I don't know, God sent.
Instantly, they instantly knew what to do. They hopped in their canoe. Nolan was kind of talking. They didn't speak very good English, but so they paddled over, and while all that was going on, this is where it splits off into two different stories. And I just told Nolan I'm gonna go try and stop our shit before it gets too far down. And there was like a rapid that was probably 500 meters after that we didn't scout or anything. That all our stuff washed down. And his bag was at the top, so he figured he's gonna stick around, make sure they're safe. They had to cut across the rapid. They had to ferry across these rapids to get to his bag. So I said, I'm gonna go try and stop our stuff before it gets too far. So I ended up running down river like 2 kilometers. I can see all the rapids, see all our stuff kind of going down. So I'm trying to get ahead of everything. And I kept going and going and going. And it must have been 2 kilometers by the time that first rapid stopped. All that rapid stopped. And then there was another little rapid. And then it was a big wide body of water on the river. And so I saw everything started slowing down in that wide body, but it was still current going through. So I got down to this area where there was kind of swampy area, but I saw there was an island and everything was kind of getting funneled down between this island. But I got there before that would have happened. So I swam through this little skag, and I thought I saw my bag, and it ended up swimming across, trying to get across this kind of current. And I ended up grabbing one of these bags, and it ended up just being a float bag. And I was gassed by the time I got there. Swam back, and I could keep seeing the canoe coming down towards me. And it was probably half an hour I was sitting there freezing my ass off, knee deep in water, waiting for the canoe. But with that time, I was able to kind of devise a plan, and I had my throw bag on me. So luckily, I by the time it was getting close, I kind of had to time it where I would swim out and I wouldn't waste too much energy trying to swim up to it, but I could swim across to it, that I could get it tied up and swim back, and it would kind of meet at the point of this island. Ended up getting sucked down river.
Wait, let me tell. In the meantime.
Well, I'll just tell it after.
Well, like,
I'm halfway through.
Do the.
What?
That's the fucking good part.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, like, he's trying to rescue the canoe, waiting for the canoe to come down the raft, like, the slow part. He's, like, waiting for it to get to the bottleneck. And I'm panicking. I'm, like, running down the trail after the couple recovered my bag. I got my bag, and I start walking down river. And then eventually I just drop it because, like, I'm looking for Clayton at the same time. Like, I'm thinking in my head, oh my god, we shouldn't have split up. We shouldn't have split up. Like, what if he jumps in a rapid and he gets caught and he's dead? Like, I just did, like, everything was going through my head. The whole time, like, it was a terrible experience.
Then you end up.
But then I see our barrel, like the food barrel, and I'm like, oh shit! I have my pack. I see the barrel. I can go get the barrel, and then we can both survive. Like, we're not gonna be hungry. We're not gonna starve if I get this food barrel. So I jump in the water and I swim over to like a swamp. It's not even. There's no current. There's hardly any current. So I was able to safely get it and drag it back to shore. And then I'm like, well, what if Clayton went back to the same campsite where the French couple was? So in that time, like, I got the barrel. I went back to the site. They were like, no, we haven't seen your friend. And then at that point, I was like, oh my god, like, where is he? I started to panic even more. And then I head down the trail. And then this is what happened in the meantime.
I could hear a couple whistles blow, and I'm like, oh, like, he's just up there. So I'm like, I don't know if I got what it takes to get back out to this canoe in this current. Like, and it right after, maybe 100 meters after where I had to swim across, it ended up being another set of rapids, and I could kind of see them at that time, but I'm like, it wasn't as fast, so I was able to, like, and I would hop in the water, and when I went to get the float bag, I could see the land, and I'm like, as long as I'm not getting sucked down, as long as I'm not losing ground as I'm going to get this, I should be fine and be able to get across. And I was watching the land, and I kept staying kind of in the same spot as I'm, like, ferrying my body across. So yeah, the canoe started getting into the point where I was like, I might be able to go get this. If I don't do it now, it's going to be down a couple more rapids, and who knows if we'll see it again. So I went out, I had my throw bag on me, and I started swimming like hell, and I got to the canoe, and I'm like, pull out the throw bag, and I'm like, how the fuck do I tie this? And I was freezing cold, and I'm like underwater trying to, like, tie this, and, like, none of my knots are working, and I'm just like, holy hell. I was just like, if you don't know knots, tie lots. So I just kept tying, and then I was like, okay, let my line out of the throw bag, and I start swimming back, and then it stops. The throw bag stops, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm out of line. This is the worst case possible because it's filled with water. I can't pull the thing while I'm trying to swim. I'm gassed myself. And then I start feeling throw bag, and there's, like, a big knot of just line. So I was like, thank God. I undo it. I undo the little clip on the throw bag and just pull the rest of it out. And I keep swimming as hard as I can. 5 minutes later, I'm back to shore. But just before I get back to shore, it's like 10 feet before I'm on my, like, I can see rocks where I could get off, and it ends. And I'm like, oh my God, it couldn't get any worse. Then I'd give it a tug, it would pull me back a bit, but then I would give it another tug, and, like, I was moving it closer, so I was able to swim, give it a tug, swim, give it a tug, kept moving. I ended up reaching land, and I had to kind of run down river to get more slack out of the line, and then I just wrapped the line around a tree as hard as I could, and just sat back on it. So then the tree just took all the weight, and the whole canoe just, you could see the tree start, like, folding over, and the canoe just went, whoop, line went all tension. And luckily enough, I was able to save the canoe, and then had to get it flipped upright, hand paddle it back, lined it back, and then just kind of try to hand paddle it across that swamp that I swam through. By that time, I was freezing cold. I'm sure you were too. And I just started booking it down trail, yelling your name and stuff, because I heard a four-wheeler too while I was on that island, so I'm like, we're not completely fucked out here.
Yeah, we're yelling. So after I dropped the food barrel and asked the couple if they've seen you, I go back down the trail. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta run and find him. So I start yelling, like, constantly, like, and I start blowing my whistle. And the thing about whistles is, like, when you blow it really loud, it makes you deaf, so you can't hear anything, which is very inconvenient. So you have to like plug your ears and blow the whistle at the same time.
Yeah.
And then eventually, Clayton was within yelling distance, and I heard yo, and then all of a sudden,
well, before that, we end up meeting a legend,
who carved these paddles.
Lamonte carved us out of wood with his chainsaw. He works on the trails out here, and luckily as hell, I end up finding Mike Lamonte, and he carved us out 2 paddles with his chainsaw. I told him what was happening. I'm running down the trail, and I'm like, Nolan, is that you? And he's like, oh. He's like, I'm not Nolan. And then I get closer, and he's like, oh, hold on. Like, just after all this shit happened, he's like, hold on. You're the first one to use my bridge. And I'm in boxers because I took my pants off because they dragged me down. He's like, let me get a picture. I was like, I'm freezing my ass off, but sure, let's get that picture. We end up taking a picture. And he's like, what happened? And I was like, all my shit's downriver. I just managed to save my canoe. I was like, he's like, oh, let me get you a sweater. He hands me one of his old jackets and a sweater, and I'm like, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Honestly, he was a fucking legend, man. He's an angel.
Oh, he was a godsend. So I told him what happened. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go find Nolan and make sure he's okay. I start running up trail, find Nolan. That's all good, and then we grab our packs and then go back down to talk
Mike's camp
to talk to Mike. And Mike's not like Mike's just working on the trails. He's kind of like
he's 80 years old, man. Like
80
he's
years
there
old,
by himself.
Yeah.
He's there by himself, and he's just fucking He's working in the bush.
But let's not get off topic here because we could talk about Mike all day. But so we go back, meet Mike, and he's like, "How the hell can I help you guys out?" I'm like, "Well, we don't have any paddles, but we have a canoe." So he's like, all right, what can I do here? And then he starts looking at trees, and he's like, I'm gonna cut you guys down a tree, and I'm gonna cut you guys out canoe paddles. So he did just that.
He's like, I used to do it for my grandkids.
He did
every year.
He did just that, and so he gave us 2 paddles. Look like that. Got the bark all on them and everything. Kind of a rough cut. And then the next day he woke us up this morning, and he's like, "You guys give me one of those paddles, and I'll go shape it up for you. Take a couple of pounds off it or whatnot." And this one's probably about maybe 5 pounds, I would say. Yeah. I'd say that's probably 5 pounds. This one's probably 2.5 pounds or something like that. But he's got like good angle, like, good detail on the guy. So if you're looking for your next paddle, Mike Lamont. But yeah, that guy really saved the trip, and the only reason we're still going is because of that guy. So
we found a paddle after he gave us a paddle. We found one of our original paddles.
Yeah.
So yeah. We were still able to run rapids today. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have found that paddle. We wouldn't have been able to finish the trip.
What are we missing here? Like Mike really saved the day, and he's a good old lad. And
so yeah, if it weren't for that couple that got my bag at the top, and if it weren't for Mike, who knows where we would be right now? Who knows what would have happened? We were just really blessed to like have anyone.